behind plastics, the myth behind plastic, all this kind of stuff. Dr. Chris has spent years of his own time and money doing the research. He's actually collecting the research. He's not necessarily, or in most, this isn't like his opinion. This is documented facts. And he's actually kind of been a one-armed paper hanger out there fighting the battle to try to re-educate people, because plastics have been demonized. Plastics have been, again, people see what they consume what they see on CNN or Fox News or whatever. The problem I have with this is that it's not always the truth. In fact, rarely is it the truth when it comes to plastics versus other types of packaging. Plastics, because we see litter and because we see floating garbage, or we see villages swimming in trash, that's not plastic's fault necessarily. Now, I know there's the thumb gangsters out there who will say, "Oh, well, it's single use plastic or whatever." You know what? You can think whatever you want. You can follow whatever the political action committees tell you. First and foremost, I want you to understand what I've learned from Dr. Chris and others. You have a problem for the simple fact, initially, we have a littering problem. We're not throwing away, or we're not collecting waste properly, at least in the US. I know that in the UK, but let's talk about the US. Our rules and regulations throughout the US and the States are all skewed. Nobody understands what is trash, or what trash needs to be recycled, or what trash needs to be disposed of, what trash needs to be incinerated, what trash needs to be exposed to air and sunlight to biodegrade, what trash needs to be collected and ground back up. Whatever I'm getting at is this information from Dr. Chris has been absolutely critical for us to be able to share this information, just to tell the other side of the story. Not all paper is the perfect solution. Not all plastic is. We are just trying to share this information as stewards to basically explain to people there's a lot more to this than just whatever CNN or Greenpeace tells you. I've done extensive videos on the truth behind Greenpeace and the truth behind some of these other companies that say they're part of the solution. They're not. They're a political action committee paid for by companies that run plastic, that run paper companies. It's really a skewed system. All I'm trying to do is emphasize to people, we are smarter than this. We're not trained Pavlov's dogs. Think for yourself. Nobody said it's okay to throw garbage away in the ocean. Nobody said that throwing trash on the side of the road is okay. It's 85 to 90% of litter in the U.S. is intentional. That means that we've trained or taught or shown by example to children that it's okay to throw garbage away. Just throw it away. Throw it, litter it, throw it. Just throw it out the window. And that's pathetic. As parents, as adults, we owe it to the next generation to help them straighten this mess out. And until we kind of refine all of these rules and regulations in the US and kind of streamline this, for example, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, and I could go to the town over. I'm in a suburb of Cleveland. I can go to the next town over, 5 minutes away. They have completely different recycling rules, meaning the very trash that may be recycled in my town, the next town over isn't. That needs to be disposed of completely different by the same company, mind you, that picks up the trash. So that's a real screwed up thing too. And it changes from city to city. It changes from town to town. This is first and foremost one of the biggest problems. We don't have a streamlined process and everybody follows the same rules. If we want to make change, we want to do something here. Knock yourself out. You want to use paper, but don't hit me over the head that you're doing something better for the environment, because you're not, especially when it comes to this nonsense out there about Delta Airlines and Alaska Airlines switching from single-use cups, plastic cups, to paper cups. Nobody's paying attention to that. Think about that. How many trees and how much natural resources and water does it take to make paper cups? And by the way, paper cups, pure paper cups, cannot hold liquid. Can't. Has to be coated. When you coat the paper, it's no longer recyclable. Okay? So now you've got a landfill problem. So don't tell me that you Delta Airlines. The point is we have a truth problem. We have a skewed logic problem, and it's up to, God forbid, the government or some of us here in the US to be able to streamline into rules and regulations, information that everybody follows. It's not going to change if my town is different than your town is different than Sally's town is different than Bob's town, and it changes. It's just a cluster. We don't even know what to pick up, what not to pick up. I could go and do business in Hawaii, and Hawaii does not biodegrade anything. They incinerate it for the simple fact that they don't have the space to literally recycle stuff. They've got to incinerate it, or they need to biodegrade it. They can't just afford to landfill it. So it's a very, very skewed setup. And when you're talking about Hawaii, islands in the middle of nowhere, that's a real issue. They don't have the space to be able to build colossal landfills. They just don't. So they've got to come up with ways to either biodegrade, incinerate, and that's industrial incineration, which, you know, in and of itself is also not necessarily great for the environment. Better in several instances, better than just dumping in a landfill and letting it sit there for the next 150 years. So there's all this stuff and misinformation. And why I share this website, why I share about Dr. Chris, is he's absolutely right. This plastics has been demonized. The information has been skewed to benefit whatever industry is going on. People can say, oh, well, you skewed this for the plastic industry. He's not in the plastic business. He's a scientist. I'm in the packaging business. You want paper? I'll sell you paper. You want biodegradable? I'll sell it to you. I've got biodegradable stuff right here. If you can see it, I've got biodegradable and clear and paper. You want it? Great. But don't tell me that it's better than something else unless you've done your research. And all these sustainability people that are out there that pat themselves on the back that I'm the sustainability manager for Delta Airlines. Well, you're an idiot for the simple fact that, first and foremost, you can't sit here and tell me we did this to eliminate single-use plastic. You're basically making this a marketing situation. You're basically patting yourself on the back, Delta and Alaska Airlines, and saying, oh, look at us, look what we're doing. But nobody's paying attention to the other side. Everybody here, in my opinion, from a sustainability, if you hold any weight at that company, meaning Delta or Alaska or whoever's making these silly comments that you're helping the environment, you're not, because you haven't done the other side of the equation. By the way, if you look at the asterisk in your press release, Delta, you have an asterisk in there that you're comparing 2019 figures to 2024. Why? There's just so many questions to all this. My point with this riff is check out Dr. Chris's Plastic Paradox and his website. Second of all, do your own research. Need to understand that there's a lot more to this than just following in line. If there's anything that we have to teach our children is think for yourself. Does it make sense to you? Do your own research. Don't wildly just follow in line. We're not trained Pavlov's dog when the bell rings. Think for yourself. Does this make sense to you? And by the way, why don't we start with just kind of informing our children to stop littering or to understand that litter is not good and that we've got to pick this stuff up and protect our environment initially. We start there and start doing something. It'll lead to more and more and more productive steps. But don't demonize plastic. Don't demonize one particular thing because you don't understand the truth. Know the truth, do your research, and I hope this is helpful. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to see more, here's another video that you can check out, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.